morning, guys, and welcome back to another number sense tips and tricks video. Today's lesson is going to be 1.2.10, multiplying two numbers equidistant from a third number. I'm excited about today's lesson because in my eyes, this lesson is the bread and butter of multiplying on the number sense test. I can't tell you how many times on the first column and the second column that I have seen multiplication problems involve in some way or another equidistance. Now, if you've taken my geometry class or maybe you've forgotten, equidistance is the same thing as saying the same distance away from a number. Take a look at this illustration at the top. The first problem is 83 times 87. You can use today's trick that we learned on this problem because 83 and 87 are the same distance away from one number. They're the same distance away from 85. If I'm working here at the top and I'm trying to do 83 times 87, well, that's the same thing as saying 85 minus 2 times 85 plus 2. So this is where the trick begins to come in. Why is this relevant? Well, if I'm multiplying these two numbers together, I'm going to take the foiling approach. I'm going to do 85 times 85. I'm going to use the squares ending in 5 trick to solve. So I'm going to do 8 times 9, which is 72. The number has to end in 25. If you don't know how I just did that, you need to watch this video up here, which is problem set 1.28. Squares ending in 5 trick, extremely helpful. You'll need it for this lesson. Back to this problem, we're continuing to FOIL. 85 times 2 is 170. And as we work the inner, I notice negative 2 times 85 is negative 170. And then finally at the end, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So what's so special about this trick? How does it work? What's special is what's happening right here. If you multiply two numbers equidistant from a third number, my third number being 85, you can FOIL this problem in such a way where cancellation happens. The positive 170 cancels out the negative 170. So what does that mean? Well, 7225 was the result of 85 squared. Negative 4 was the result of 2 squared, but we're subtracting it. If you can recognize equidistance on a test, it is extremely helpful. But let me show you what I mean when we put this into practice. I'm going to skip straight down to problem set 1.2.10 so that you guys get some freebies on your homework. Take a look at number 1, 84 times 86. Notice, these two numbers are the same distance away from what number? It's 85. So this is the same thing as 85 minus 1 times 85 plus 1. And because this is a difference of squares, the same thing that just happened above is going to happen here. Cancellation is going to happen. So really all you have to do is 85, the number that's in the middle, squared, minus 1, which is the gap between the two numbers, how far they are away from 85, squared. And because negative 1 squared is still 1, all you're really doing is just 85 squared minus 1. So this problem is testing your knowledge. What is 85 squared? I have to use the squares ending in 5 trick. 8 times 9 is 72. The number ends in 25. Don't forget to subtract the 1 at the end. 7224 is going to be your answer. So this is a lesson that definitely gets better with repetition. And the more you do it, the faster you get. Take a look at number 2. I notice right away these two numbers are the same distance from 55. What's the gap? The gap is 2. I want to recognize these two things right away. So essentially what I'm doing here is 55 minus 2 times 55 plus 2. So now it's the same idea. If I want to get my answer, I have to do 55 squared minus 2 squared. And 2 squared is just 4. So all you're doing is the squares ending in 5 trick. 5 times 6 is 30. It ends in 25. Minus 4, though. 3021 is my answer. Now let me show you what this can look like when it gets a little faster. No write-downs this time. Take a look at number 3, 48 times 52. I'm going to do 50 squared. 5 times 5 is 25. 50 squared is 2500. The gap is 2. I'm going to square it. I'm going to subtract 4 from 2500 to get 2496 is my answer. Now, sometimes these equidistance problems might not come out and jump at you right off the bat. Sometimes the gap is larger. One trick that I like to notice is if both the numbers are even or both the numbers are odd, they do have a whole number that is equidistant between them. Take a look at number 7. These numbers are farther apart, and the gap isn't noticeable right away, but when you see that both of these numbers are even, there has to be a whole number that sits perfectly in between them. That whole number here is 30. So what you're doing is 30 squared minus, what's the gap? Well, both of these numbers are 6 digits away. So you're doing 30 squared minus 6 squared. 30 squared is 900. 900 minus 36 is 864. 864 should be your answer. So what's difficult about this problem set? I'd like to think if you know the squares ending in 5 trick very well, this problem set can be very easy. But the thing that can sometimes stump you or trick you at the end is, take a look at some of these problems over here. Test writers like to add these tiny little things at the end, like adding or subtracting digits, to try to catch you slipping. Because when you do the squares ending in 5 trick, it's very easy to write down 25 right away because you know it's a write down. And if you write down 25 on the test and you forget that you have to add this 4, you've already gotten the problem wrong because you accidentally wrote it down too soon. So how is this more difficult? You do have to hold it in your head before you finally decide to write down your answer. But besides that, I think this is very manageable with this trick, and I'm excited for you guys to try it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please take the time to practice this problem set. It's a great trick. Do your best, and as always, go Cats.